Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Sarah Oswald. I am your TIGAR Global Committee Chair. Super excited about our event. We have lots of committee members who planned in the background, and they work really diligently and hard to get this event on for you guys. With that said, I want to congratulate all of you who sign up and register and are here at our event. It is just an indication to us how important global is to your business, to you wanting to network with all the other realtors around the world. With that said, it gives everybody an opportunity to learn about diversity and understanding each other's differences. So to start off, I would like to go over a little bit about our ground rules. During the event, if we all can mute ourselves, and also if you have any questions during the event, feel free to type it on chat, which is part of the Zoom, or if you want to comment on Facebook, because this event is going to be recorded. And if I could also ask you all to let us know what location that you work at, your expertise. And to do that, if you all could look at the bottom of the page of Zoom where it says participants, if you could just click participants and then hover over to the right side, which will have your name. Hover over that and click more. What you're gonna see is a button that says rename. Click that, and right next to your name, put either your city, your state, or country that you're from. This way, just so you guys all know, all our events, all our global events are recorded, and we are going to be adding them to our TIGAR Global website. That's going to give you everybody an opportunity to look it over and watch it over. And the best part is, if anyone's looking for a referral business, they're going to see your name, the city you're from. So this is a perfect opportunity for everybody to get global referral and to be part of this great community. Hi, Ariel. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to proceed with our event. But before I do that, I would like to dedicate today's event to an acclaimed, esteemed global community icon. That is Lupita Duran. She has been very instrumental in introducing the world of her region and of her love, which just so happens to be Cancun, Yucatan, and Riviera Maya. The news of her passing this past week hit many realtors very hard, especially in the global community. Her accolades are a mile long. She actually has 3 designations from NAR, which are CIPS, RSPS, and TR. She's also VP of International Relations from MP. She's FIAPSI Mexico President 2012, MP National Advisory Council, past President MP Cancun, and the founding member of MP of Toulon. What all of us going to miss the most is her enthusiasm, her energy, her kindness, and how much she cared for the global community overall. She made everybody feel welcome. She made a lasting impression on all realtors whose path were honored to cross and pass around her. Lupita, you will be greatly missed by the MP community and the National Association of Realtors. Thank you so much for setting up the global roadmap for the rest of us to follow. If we just could bow our heads for 20 seconds of silence to honor Lupita and her 20 years of dedication to the real estate community. Thank you all. I will now turn the event over to Donna.
Thank you, Sarah. On that note, I hope she rests in peace. And although I didn't know her, my prayers are with her. And her. I'd like to share a video real quick. So just, I'm doing it from my iPad, so please bear with me on that. Can you guys see that, or?
No, we cannot.
Okay.
You're recording, but I'm also.
Donna, just make sure you put that to also share your screen sound as well.
Okay.
So we'll be able to hear the music on there.
Yes, I've got that up. I'm just, let me go like this. Oh my.
I see that people are putting in the chat where they're from and all of that. So feel free to save the chat at the end of this. So you all can have each other's phone numbers and you can refer everyone to each other.
Okay, it's not picking it up.
For those of you who don't know how to save all the messages on the chat, the very bottom, there's like a icon that says 3 buttons right next to file. Click on that. You'll be able to record everything and save it to your file.
Okay, here we go. Try this. Now let me know if you guys get this.
I am not seeing your screen.
Oh, you don't see my screen at all, huh?
No.
Okay.
We can always try.
You know what? Go on, Janessa. What is your suggestion?
I was going to say, we can always go on and we can try and show the video a little bit later.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, on that note, and I apologize for that. Is Neela on?
Yes, she is.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Neela at this time. And this is Neela Esposito, and she is currently the WCR, that's the Women's Council of Realtors president. And so welcome. Let's welcome Neela. And if you'd like to speak a little bit regarding the spring tea that's coming up as well. Neela?
That would be great. Thank you so much, Donna, and thank you all for being here. I'm also part of the global committee, and I'm very excited to be part of it. I am the Women's Council of Realtors president this year, and I'm very excited about our biggest fundraiser for the year, which is our 14th annual spring tea. And this year it will be in person. This year, as part of the fundraiser, we also donate money to a charity. As president this year, I have chosen the Shriners Hospital for Children, which assists the families for medical assistance, surgeries, and so forth. So I'm going to put a link on the chat box so that you can get more information about that. And I hope that those that are local are able to join us. Vanessa is also our chair, so if you have any questions, you could reach out to her as well as myself. So I thank you for the opportunity to share that with you today. So another topic that I will be talking about is actually my experience at the Riviera Maya. It was a wonderful experience. There are a lot of, I'm going to share a picture with you real quick. May I share?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's just a real quick pic because I know I'm limited on time. Okay, so while we were at the Riviera Maya, of course, we stayed at the Riviera Maya, which is south of Cancun, or it's further down from Cancun proper. And we were amazed. At first, it just felt like a little bit of jungle when we were there. But then you go through these long driveways, and then there's these huge resorts that are right by the water. And from where the hotel that we were at, you could actually see Cuba at night in the distance. And it was a beautiful sight. The waters are soft blue, and then they paint colors as you go along. We didn't sit where we were at, you couldn't see like a lot of fish or anything. But the nice thing about it too is that we were at an inclusive resort, so you could have all the drink you wanted, beer, champagne, wine, and then all the food you could have pretty much at any time. So that was very nice. And then the landscape is just incredible. You feel like you're in paradise when you're there. Another thing that we did do is we took a drive to Tulum, and I know that Spencer will be talking about Tulum, and it's just breathtaking. You see the monoliths right by the water, and you picture yourself being in civilization from the past. It's just an incredible feeling. And then the other thing we did is we drove into Yucatan to see Chichen Itza. I think it was a couple hours away. But while we drove through there are these places that look like this. This is called the cenote. It's spelled Cenote, but it's pronounced cenote. And they're underground water areas. And a lot of people and visitors, we could go down there and swim. This person is kind of hanging from there, but there are little boats as well, depending on the size of the cenote. And you could go, on there a small raft, or you could also swim. I don't swim, but I had a lot of fun watching everybody else. My husband went in there, and he was a little bit afraid first, but it was an awesome experience. So if you get the chance, I recommend in Riviera. It's beautiful, it's breathtaking, and you feel rejuvenated once you leave the area. So I thank you for the opportunity. And now I will turn it over to Adriana Niguel, who is also a past president of Women's Council of Realtors. Adriana?
Hi, I am Adriana. I'm from Mexico, and I love to be with all of you guys. I am actually in Minnesota. I am a realtor here, licensed in Minnesota, and I would love to network with you every time I can. If I can help in any way, please let me know. I am a CIPS realtor, and I am a director of NAREP Twin Cities chapter, which is the National Hispanic Association of Realtors. If I can help in any way, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana. I am also Adriana. I am the president of the Inland Gateway Association of Realtors, and I just want to welcome you all. This is a wonderful event. But before I do the introduction, I need to introduce Spencer, but I think Dana may be ready for her presentation, or?
You know what? I just wanted to say, Janessa, you've got it. I just sent it to you to upload.
Okay, so let's do that first, and then I will do the introduction. Thank you.
Let me get to that screen really quick. One moment. I have about 47 tabs open. I'm sure everyone has had that.
We understand, no rush.
It's like our brains have that many tabs open at one time, right?
Exactly. I'm so sorry for this short delay. But yes, it's
Let
in there.
me, okay, I see it. We've got our fun little music. Let me share it with sound. And that way we'll be able to hear it. All right, here we go. All righty, there you go.
Thank you.
Wow.
Tina.
Don't we want to go there? Dana, do you have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, I just wanted to show the quick little video regarding the Riviera Maya and show some fascinating, relaxing, peaceful, tranquil ocean view destinations and relaxation. So Spencer, on that note, I'd like to turn it over to you and have you share with us.
Okay, I'm gonna do the introduction of
Oh, I'm
Spencer
so sorry.
first. No, Spencer, what an honor to have you here with us. And I just want to also say thank you for being a member of our association. Amazing. Well, Spencer Ho is a CIPS, founder of Ho Global, a real estate specialist, founding president of FIA BCI USA, Los Angeles, Southern California Council, the International Real Estate Federation, immediate past chair of the CIR Global Real Estate, and member of the CIR Board of Directors. He also served as the chair for the OCAR Global Business Alliance Committee and past member of the Board of Directors. Member of NAR, Asian Real Estate Association of America, National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, Chinese American Real Estate Professionals Association, award-winning global realtor, and international speaker and expert for China, USA, and Mexico. So let's all welcome Spencer. It's going to be amazing. Looking forward to listen from you and learn from you. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that great introduction. And I'm happy to be here with you guys again. I'm so happy for TIGAR Global for kicking off this year, having a strong start putting these programs together. So you guys definitely are doing a great job. And as Adriana mentioned, I am now a secondary member with TIGAR. So very happy to be with you guys as well. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. Okay, perfect. So as everyone probably knows me from that introduction, we can skip this. I have been lucky to have spoken for a lot of entities, including real estate associations, as well as a lot of the individual brands, as well as a lot of Chinese entities. We used to specialize a lot in China. And with the recent changes within the probably last 3 years or so, we had a business shift, and that's how we ended up kind of having a new specialization in Latin America with Mexico as our kickoff. So very happy to be able to share what we have learned within the last several years, and hopefully get you guys interested as much as we have been interested. So the presentation today is going to share a lot of statistics, a lot of numbers, a lot of facts. It will share some practical knowledge as well. And towards the end of it, we will have a drawing for either a 1-night stay or a 2-night stay in Tulum in the hotel condo property that we personally own. So definitely stick around to the end. The leadership will figure out how to award it. So I'm just providing the price. So what is 11%? So 11% basically is going to be the estimated percentage of your personal or professional database that is looking for or has already purchased overseas. So definitely you don't want to start talking with friends or talking with clients once you are interested and have the ability to either refer them to someone in a global destination or have the ability to help with that transaction yourself and find out that they've already done that transaction. That will be a big bummer. So we want to make sure that we are educating everyone that's on the call, hopefully anyone else that is watching the video, that you do have that opportunity. And of course, you have to put in some time, you have to put in some work, you have to put in some diligence, but you have that opportunity to help either with referrals or with doing a direct representation or introduction to the transaction. And you can earn legal referral fees. So definitely you want to keep this as part of your tool belt if it is something that you want to do. There are some primary reasons why a potential client would want to purchase overseas. And this does not just affect Mexico. This would be any overseas location. So the number one reason, of course, is going to be a vacation home. So that was great that we were able to share a video highlighting Cancun as well as the Riviera Maya. So those that have not been to that area, hopefully that video has piqued some interest and you would like to explore. Those of us that have, hopefully that has gotten your interest to say, I want to go back, since it's definitely a beautiful location. So whenever anyone is going on vacation, definitely most people will have in the back of their mind, whether it's a small thought or a bigger thought, what would it take to own a property here? And sometimes that unfortunately ends up getting swayed into a timeshare, which we don't believe is a good opportunity. But a lot of these locations that ends up happening. But a true real estate opportunity as far as investment ownership, true title, that does come across a lot of people's minds. The second basically would be for investment reasons. So either for investing and getting a capital appreciation, or investing and getting returning gains, so as a rental or otherwise recurring income. The next would be a second home. So someone that does primarily live in a home country. I think most of us on the call are based in US. So if we're based in the US most of the year, but we want to live somewhere else for multiple months per year, that would be considered a second home. And of course, the last would be for retirement reasons. Once you are at retirement age, a lot of these locations overseas, the cost of living is very cheap. The cost to purchase a property to live in is very cheap. Or if you don't want to purchase, the cost to rent a property is very cheap. And it's going to be usually a better quality of lifestyle, quality of life than you would have here in the US, everything put all together. But the best thing is if you have a combination of multiple of these or all four of these. And a lot of these locations within Mexico do classify as qualifying for most of these categories. So definitely that makes sense. This graphic basically shows where a source country, a home country, where most of those residents would be visiting. And this is for travel only, but travel, as we know, does affect the purchases. As we saw, vacation homes is one of the main purchase reasons. So for the US visitors, we do see that Mexico is that #1 location. For Canadian visitors, we see Mexico as that #2 location. And those by fact in most of these locations is going to be that the US and Canadian buyer is very, very strong as far as the foreign nationalities purchasing. Just another graphic, the most popular travel locations for Americans for 2019, so right before COVID hit all of us, we see 39 million Americans traveled to Mexico. So very strong number, of course. The next graph also showing the visitors. And this is basically a more recent number. So January to March of 2021, there were 11 million passengers arriving to Mexico, international visitors. And this would not just include airfare, this would include land travel as well. So US traveling to Mexico by land from the north, and then from Guatemala and Belize from the south. So these also count. And then as well as cruise passengers. A lot of locations within Mexico, of course, are cruise ports. So if you annualize this number, you're still kind of at that 40 million passengers per year, which is still very strong given that we are still in the middle of COVID. So definitely tourism plays a big part in the Mexican economy. The next graph for the same period, we can see that air travel to Mexico, 75% is from the US, the first quarter of this year. So definitely for us here in the US, Mexico does make sense. Mexico by numbers is the #1 location that the US residents are purchasing outside of the US. And of course, rest of Latin America and the Caribbean islands would kind of be that top 5, rest of that top 5 or top 10. You can kind of see how the numbers have moved as far as the travel through Cancun International Airport. Just a note that this presentation, I will turn it into a PDF and I'll send it to Janessa and Sarah. So all of you guys that want to have these after, so you don't need to be taking pictures with your cell phone right now. And then the hotel occupancy rates, and this is for Cancun, but it does give a strong indication, but you can see a lot of these are going to be nearing that 80%, which is minimum of 10 to 15% higher than what we would see as healthy numbers here in the US for hotel occupancy. And if you compare the numbers to Riviera Maya, which is the area immediately south of Cancun, Playa del Carmen and Tulum, these numbers are even higher. For Tulum, when it peaks, it's going to be over 90% occupancy rate. So that's a very strong market. So what are the top locations within Mexico to purchase? This is a chart and I added some dots to it, but the chart as the default was created by International Living, which they do a report every year as far as what are the best locations to retire every year. And a lot of these locations that also kind of overlap as the best locations to invest. So you can kind of see closer to us in California, you see Ensenada, which would include Northern Baja California, Rosarito, Tijuana in an instance sometimes. You see at the southern tip of Baja, Los Cabos, which is a combination of Cabo San Lucas and Los Cabos city. And then towards central Mexico, you see Ajijic and Chapala, and then San Miguel de Allende. Those are the 2 highest density locations as far as foreign retirees living within Mexico. So those are very specific. They're very nice areas, but of course, not by a beach. And then towards the southeast, of course, that's where Cancun Riviera Maya is. If you go to the west a little bit to the Yucatan, that's where Merida is. Merida is the safest city within Latin America and is the 2nd safest city within North America, right behind Montreal in Canada. So that's an interesting fact. And then, of course, we all know Puerto Vallarta is very popular as well. So these are some of the top locations within Mexico. All of them do have great real estate opportunities. Of course, starting price points would be different based on where they're located, how long they've been developing, and all of that. So something to point out, so if you look at the right side, that's a snapshot of the report. This was a report put out by NAR at the beginning of this year. And what they did basically was survey all of their international realtor members, IRM members. And what that is basically NAR Global has bilateral agreements with a lot of the real estate associations across the world. And by doing that, that gives their members the option to directly join NAR as an IRM member. So this report was done between July of the previous year to the end of the year. And it's basically, I took out a couple of snapshots that refer to Mexico specifically. It's asking the IRM members, where are their top buyers coming from that are not from their home location? So you can see right away, United States is by far the #1 location. Canada, of course, we mentioned already. But if you see number 3, Mexico. So the Mexicans are also purchasing in other Mexico locations. And primarily, it's either going to be a strong investment area or a resort area. So definitely, that is also very strong. Also in this report, and I kind of pieced them together, you can kind of see the purchase price points and the source of financing. So under 250,000, you see about 63–64% of the purchases. So, and that does fall in line with our own research and development. That sweet spot of investment is probably going to be between 100,000 to about 350,000. Once you get over that, and there's tons of locations, you can go easily over 1 million. There's beautiful beach villas right on the sand. So if you want a flashy home, that's also doable. But most of us like to see a return on any real estate that we purchase. So that sweet spot usually is going to be in that 100,000 to 350,000. On the right side, we see the source of financing. You see that 70% is going to be all cash. And the reason for that, and this number actually affects the domestic real estate purchases as well, the Mexicans purchasing in their home location or in outside of their home location. And it's mainly because the residential financing, in addition to the commercial or construction financing sector within Mexico, is not very mature. So this is a different concept for them. So most of them will purchase all cash. And for the same reason, when most of the world was going through the financial meltdown or the mortgage meltdown in 2007, 2008, 2009, Mexico didn't get too affected. It did get affected a little bit because there, of course, we know a lot of US buyers over leveraged maybe a home here in the US to purchase something there. And then they ended up doing some other stuff. So, but just the fact that most of the homes are owned all cash. The types of property that are purchased is usually going to be either a single family detached or a condominium unit. Usually a single family attached doesn't really exist. You can see on the right side, the main purpose of the purchase, vacation home again, #1 reason for that purchase. And then primary residence, so that would be either that second home or that retirement is 25%. And then renting out, of course, as an investment is the third factor. You can kind of see the cost of living, and we did mention the cost of living in a lot of these global locations is lower. So if you go to see red, we see USA and Canada, or kind of the red-orange, which is very high as far as cost of living. But right under it, you see green, which is very low. And of course, this is just measuring Mexico as an entire country. Definitely the locations where the tourists are or the resorts are going to be pricier, but definitely Mexico does have a lower cost of living than the US or Canada. We'll skip some of these. So we're focusing today a little bit more on Southeast Mexico, which is the Riviera Maya and Cancun. So I did dig up some dates. So Cancun basically started developing in the 1970s. So that's going to be almost 50 years now. Playa del Carmen started in 1998, and Tulum started up in 2008. So you can kind of see the general path is going southwards. So as each of these locations becomes developed and kind of overpopulated, oversaturated, then just naturally the next location is going to start to develop or become that next hotspot. Right now, Tulum is that hotspot by far, and probably still has another 10, 15 years of lifespan as far as development, and then it'll pretty much be built out, my opinion. A lot of the partners we work with, their opinion. You can kind of see for Playa del Carmen, this is numbers from last year, the first quarter, the percentage of people. And this is, again, this is travel, this is not real estate purchase. But you can see USA was 33%, just other parts of Mexico was almost 24%, and Canada was 22%. And then you can compare that with the numbers for Tulum. Tulum, Canada actually is very strong for North America, and we're behind them. But Europe, the Europeans are the strongest as far as travel to Tulum. And those of you that have been to Tulum, you can probably agree it's a very special location. There's still a lot of nature. They want to try to keep that nature and try to balance that with all the development that's going on. But in addition to that, it's very similar. I don't know how many on the call have been to Bali, Indonesia, in Asia. It's very similar as far as how it is. There's a lot of kind of the younger crowd, the millennials, the digital nomads, the more kind of health conscious or yoga conscious people. So kind of more of that alternative lifestyle, which is not to say it's bad, that's a good thing. So it's very unique, definitely. And then something else that's happening for just the entire Yucatan Peninsula is they're putting in what's called the Mayan train. And this has been a project that's been going on forever. They finally did get final approval. They've started working on it. They're getting it done faster than whatever our high-speed rail going from Southern California to Northern California, with the leg in between going to Vegas. So kudos to them. Hopefully ours can get started at some time, because I know they wasted a lot of money, unfortunately. But this is going to connect the Cancun airport area and city area pretty much to the south, all of Riviera Maya. So you can see Puerto Morelos, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, all the way down to Bacalar. Bacalar is going to probably be that next location as far as the path of progress. But on the northern tip from Cancun, it's going to go westward towards Yucatan. And it's going to, as you see, go through Chichen Itza, which is the #1 travel location in the area, all the way through Merida, and then continuing through Campeche, and then all the way south again. So this is a huge project. Definitely, this is going to be government and private entities dumping in a lot of money, but at the same time, it's going to create a lot of new economy. It's going to increase all the real estate along any of these paths. Right now, to get from Cancun to Tulum by car, for instance, it's going to be 1.5 hours to 2 hours. With the high-speed train that they're building, it's going to be less than an hour. So definitely, it's going to be very good. They are going to be creating it with multiple classes of tickets. So it's not all going to be expensive tickets. There'll be cheaper tickets for just the seats that aren't going to be as luxurious. So the locals will be able to use it as well. And then the second thing that was announced, it has not been started as far as I'm aware, but they're going to be putting in a new airport right outside of Tulum Central. And based on the location, this is going to be probably about a 30-minute drive outside of Tulum Central. So instead of, again, that 1.5 hour to 2 hour drive from Cancun International Airport, it will be within 30 minutes. So definitely that will help grow the area. On the left side, you can kind of see how Tulum is arranged as far as the city planning. Right in the center where it says Tulum, that's the actual city, Centro or Puebla. And then if you go all the way to the beach, that's the hotel zone, which is where all the fancy, more expensive amenities, hotel clubs, hotels, where all those are located. And then a little bit north on that beach, you see Tulum ruins. And the Tulum ruins actually is what put Tulum on the map 20 or so years ago. And that's right by a beach called Playa Paraíso. And that was voted one of the most beautiful beaches in Mexico. And that basically got a lot of the earlier travelers. So you can kind of think the predecessors to the Instagram stars. That's what got all those people to go and put Tulum on the map. So let's talk about how a foreigner can purchase real estate within Mexico? And that's a question that definitely is very important because there's a lot of misconceptions and there's a lot of false information, unfortunately. A lot of people think they know what they're talking about and they give out information and it's incorrect. And that's just unfortunate. So the first thing that we need to know is, as a foreigner, there's something called a restricted zone. And what a restricted zone is 100 kilometers from a national border. So again, that's the US on the north, or Guatemala and Belize on the south, or 50 kilometers from an ocean, is basically going to be in that restricted zone. And what happened was the original Mexican Constitution forbids foreigners from owning land. But in the 1970s, the president at that time, and whatever his basically cabinet was, noticed that there was a huge demand for international investment and purchase into Mexico, whether that was as an individual home, as land, or as larger commercial ventures, so the large resorts you see along the beaches. So what they ended up doing was they created a new policy. And what that policy was basically a fideicomiso. And what a fideicomiso is, and if you translate it directly, it stands for bank trust, means that a foreigner is able to purchase a property. They need to purchase the property through this system, meaning the bank is going to be holding the physical title for the property. However, you as the buyer have all the rights and intents and purposes as you were to hold the title directly. Meaning you can put a property into the trust, you can take a property out of the trust, you can transfer the trust, which is one way to sell it. You can mortgage against the property, which is held in the trust. And if the property is a detached home, you can actually tear the property down if you wanted to and build a new property. So definitely everything works the same. If you look at the bottom, there's a big note that says a fideicomiso is not a lease. And that's true. It is not a lease. You own the property, fee simple, but just through basically the structure. And the bank trust, how we discuss with our buyers usually, is it's very similar to how a living trust works in the US. Basically, it's just an entity to hold the title. And the same thing, you have very similar protections in Mexico as well. One is basically no one can look you up directly by name since it's the trust that owns the property. Number two is you can directly name your beneficiary, who's basically going to get the property if you were to pass away. And because this trust is a Mexican bank trust, it overrides your will or your trust here in the US. So there's not going to be any conflicts or confusion of basically who you as the buyer wanted that replacement beneficiary to be. You can basically change that at any point. The only downside with the system is because you are now getting other services and a bank involved, there's fees. So you basically need to pay a fee to create that trust. So when you purchase, that trust is going to be created. The trust is basically going to be going through the Department of Foreign Affairs, which basically needs to approve you as a foreigner to own a trust to hold a property. Every year that you basically own your property and have the trust, you do need to maintain that trust. And that's going to cost anywhere from $400 to $500 per year, which is not a lot, but it is an additional fee. The fideicomiso, the trust, basically is in effect for a 50-year term, and every 50 years it can renew. So it's not a lease. And that's where a lot of people get confused because of the 50-year term. Everything stays the same. Basically, you just keep on paying your annual fee to the bank. The second question that we normally get is what happens if that bank goes bankrupt, or if the bank disappears, or something bad happens to the bank. So the same thing as a living trust here in the US, the fideicomiso in Mexico is a separate entity. Once it's created, it can't be killed. It can't be removed. It can't be canceled. So what you would do is basically just move it to another bank. And when you move it to another bank, of course, there might be some application fees for them to take over. And same thing, there would be an annual fee to maintain the trust. So definitely there are ways to do this. And then the second way to purchase a property within Mexico in these restricted zones is through a Mexican corporation. That's not really advised unless you're purchasing multiple different properties, or you're purchasing a multi-unit, so an apartment building, or you're purchasing a commercial building, because there are, of course, a lot of requirements that go with having a Mexican corporation, bookkeeping and paying corporate taxes and all that, basically being part of it. So it's still in the best interest if you're only having 1 or 2 properties to hold it through a fideicomiso, which is a tried and proven method to hold it. There have been no big problems holding it this way. The purchase process, as we mentioned previously, is mostly going to be all cash. Where there is financing available, it's usually not going to be too favorable. And what that means is it's going to be at the local Mexico interest rate, which is going to be over 10%. So for all of us right now here in the US, if we can do a cash out refi or a HELOC, we're going to be between 3 and 4% normally. So you're at a 6% or more difference margin. So definitely, unless there was a reason to get financing in Mexico, most will not do it. Sometimes the builders will have builder financing. Those will be for a set term. So maybe for just 5 years, and they'll give you a rate that's going to be either at that rate or less than that rate. It is possible to purchase through a self-directed IRA. So those that do have a self-directed IRA, that is a method to purchase. Usually you're going to need 20 to 30% deposit to start the transaction. So that's what is at risk if you do not finish the purchase. So definitely if someone is going to purchase in Mexico, make sure that it's a for sure thing, because there's a lot of money at risk. There's no formal escrow or title process. You do have a closing company, which is usually made up of real estate attorneys, and they kind of do what an escrow here in the US does, but it's not a true escrow, meaning they don't handle any of the money. It is an optional service that you can have them handle money, meaning you deposit money with the company, and at certain milestones, they release it to the seller, whether it's a developer or whether it's a private party. But that doesn't really protect you in any way, basically. And then, of course, there is a title history search that the closing company will help you do as part of their responsibilities. Who actually closes the deal is called a notario, a notary. And a notary outside of the US anywhere, so in Latin America and Europe, is not to be confused with what a notary here is in the US. Outside of the US, a notary basically is an appointed attorney. And what they do is basically help transfer title. They're the ones that basically will double review to make sure that the seller does have that right to sell the property, and you as the buyer have that right to purchase the property. And again, as a foreign buyer, that mainly is having your fideicomiso complete and approved. Usually the purchase process right now is going to be 45 to 60 days if it's an existing property. And the main delay is going to be getting that the government Department of Foreign Affairs to approve your fideicomiso. That's going to take usually 30 days. So it's a long process. If it's a pre-sale property, meaning it's not purchased, it's not built yet, you're purchasing it before they've started construction, it may be 2 or 3 years before they deliver when you basically go into contract. Usually when you do a pre-sale, there are benefits, but there also are higher risks. And the benefits are usually you are going to make probably 10 to 15% appreciation per year before they deliver. However, the risks are they don't complete. That's the biggest risk. The second biggest risk is they're going to be delayed as far as that delivery. So there are some trade-offs depending on the investment style that you or your client are interested in. And then lastly, you're going to be looking at 6 to 8% closing costs. So definitely that is higher than our closing costs here in the US, which will range anywhere from probably 2 to 3% on the buying side. Again, the makeup of the major costs of this are going to be that notario, setting up your fideicomiso, the transfer tax, the government always wants their tax, and then the closing company, their fees, which is very similar to how an escrow fee would be here in the US. The reasons, again, why someone wants to purchase in Mexico, again, there are multiple sources of income. So again, with that pre-sale, if you purchase in pre-sale, you'll be making anywhere from 10% to 15% in equity per year. You have a rate of return or rate of investment, which is going to be your rental, which can be you renting it yourself. assigning it to a property management company to do as an Airbnb. Or what we did, we purchased what's called a hotel condo project, which is not to be confused with how a hotel condo here is in the US, where you have a hotel and you're buying an individual room. A hotel condo in Latin America pretty much means it's just a standard condo building, but when the developers developed it, they wanted it to be basically operated and administered as a kind of a boutique hotel after delivery. So that's the main difference. Where we purchased, the building is 30 units in 2 buildings, so half and half. There's 2 swimming pools on the first floor, 3 floors. Most of them are 2 bedrooms. The top floors are penthouse, meaning they have a rooftop deck and cost a lot more. But pretty much it's a standard condo. On this, the exchange rates. So when we purchased, in between the dollar to peso conversion at the peak was 1 to 24. It's back down to about 1 to 19, 1 to 20. So if you were to purchase a property that was priced in pesos, you're going to be very much in ahead. At that point, a lot of people purchased. They got a 15 to 20% discount because they were basically locked into a peso contract, but the dollar was worth a lot more. I'll skip some of these. So just showcasing some of the properties that we have access to, and by no means are we just advertising these. These are just for example. So this is a pre-sale property that's in Tulum right now. This is one of the cheapest options. So we wanted to basically use that kind of as a starter property. They basically have studios starting at 86,000. They have 1 bedroom starting at 121,000, which is about 450 to 500 square feet. And then they have 2 bedrooms starting at 170,000, which is about 900 square feet-ish for unit 202, for instance. So these are definitely very good price points if you were to compare what can you get here in California for those price points. And that's going to be nothing pretty much. So definitely if you wanted to invest and wanted to consider outside of the US, these are great opportunities for yourself and for your clients. For the property that we invested in, we are making over 10% annualized right now. And that's only using a 56% average occupancy rate. The property just started operating January of this year. Anyone that is interested, I can send you a snapshot of that. So contact me privately. I'm happy to share that. But as we know, the occupancy rates in Tulum can get upwards of 80 to 90%. So with that said, once it stabilizes, very easy to be kind of at a 15% ROI. Another property that's being pre-sale right now, this is a much larger property. It's in the closest master plan to the ocean, which is called 101 Tulum. This is built by a very, very high-end developer called Los Amigos. They specialize in Tulum. The founders are from Germany, so they're not Mexican-based originally. And this is going to be kind of that entry-level luxury product. And as you see, this is going to be many hundreds of units, probably. So this basically, the 1 bedroom start in the low 200s and the 2 bedrooms start in the high 300s. So different pricing, almost double from the previous sample, but you get what you pay for, basically. These are going to be much higher upgrade standard. It's going to be a much better location. It's going to be a gated location. And it's going to be basically on the southern tip, connected to the hotel zone, which is the highest and best location within Tulum. It looks like I'm kind of running out of time, so I think I'll just skip to the drawing right now, and then open it up to some questions after, if that's okay. And then this presentation is available after, so definitely you guys can review it after.
Okay, yeah, you have a lot of questions in the chat for sure.
Oh, before we get to the drawing,
I
I wanted to mention we do have a broker partner program. So all of the developer and master broker relationships that we've built up, they do pay basically referral fees, and we've packaged it. So we're basically helping you as far as training and marketing materials, kind of your support team, and you can earn up to 4 to 6% of the purchase price as a legal referral fee. So definitely anyone that is interested, we're happy to assist you in getting that started. So the drawing today, again, is going to be either one night stay in our property, non-peak. So basically, as long as it's not between November and end of February, we'll basically give you until end of June next year to use it, or 2 nights during one of our events. We do schedule real estate trade mission events regularly. Our next one is going to be in, let me go back a little. Next one's going to be in September, so September 12th to 18th. It's usually going to cost about $1,200, $1,300 per person double occupancy, about $1,700, $1,800 per person single occupancy. And that's going to be for a week long, includes everything once you arrive in Mexico. And we will be doing a separate event, Real Estate Mastermind in Cancun in July. So anyone that is interested in that, whether it's the mastermind or half a week before, we will be arranging property tours as well. Not a formal trade mission, but since I'll be there already, we will be putting that together. So definitely reach out if any interest in that. And then here's just some photos from our previous trade missions. And we did go to Chichen Itza as well as one of them. So, okay, so back to the drawing. Janessa, how do you guys want to do that?
I am going to share my screen and I have the wheel of names, so it's completely random. And that way we can see, and they have to be here in order to win this. I feel like that's only fair. Let's see, full screen, and here we go. Juan, are you here? Unmute and tell us if you're here.
Yes, Janessa, I'm here.
Juan, congratulations.
A surprise. Every time he goes anywhere, Juan wins. So
He does. He's very lucky.
does.
He's very lucky.
Thank you.
Tag along, Juan.
Thank you.
Okay, so Janessa, can you do a favor and introduce Juan to me by email so we can coordinate?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
we
perfect.
do
So I
have a
think,
lot of questions though. Do we have some time to answer some of those questions, Spencer?
yeah, I'm free.
Okay, let me get up to the top of it because they ask it when you're on that topic when you're speaking. So is the real estate transaction in Mexico similar to the USA? So was that already covered?
I think I covered part of that as a presentation, yes.
Okay. And then where do you see the next hotspot in Mexico?
So for Southeast Mexico, based on the path of progress, that would be Bacalar. And that's going to be about an hour, hour and a half south of Tulum. And that's already starting to get popularity, kind of how Tulum was maybe 10 or 15 years ago. So there are travelers there. It's just not being developed very heavily yet.
Awesome. And what is the timeline to complete the new train system?
I am not sure. All I know is they did start it. So hopefully it'll be pretty soon.
And is the proposed airport in Tulum going to be international? Do you know that?
It should be international, yes.
Awesome. Can you choose which bank to hold the trust, or is it directed by the developer?
Basically, as a buyer, you can choose your own closing company, and you can choose the bank that you would want your trust to go through. Usually, the closing company will make a recommendation based on who they've used that works well. And usually it's going to be a bank that's pretty large. So ours is going through Bank Bajío, which is one of the larger brands within Mexico.
Awesome. And is clear title insured or guaranteed by Notario?
So there is no widely accepted title insurance. There are some companies that will insure it, but it would be kind of more of a private policy, not like here in the US where it's a requirement.
And how do we hear about the new or newer projects and developments?
Definitely if you are interested in learning about projects, connect with my team. We do share what we have access to. You want to interface with the CIPS members. So anyone that is CIPS, definitely interface with the CIPS members within Mexico. That's actually how I met Lapita originally. So she was one of our partners, and that's very sad, of course, the news. But definitely they're more than willing to help you because they want to increase their market share as far as getting foreigners purchase in their locations. And then, of course, go to real estate events that they might attend. So a lot of them pre-COVID actually did have representation sent out to the US presenting their projects, whether it was a developer or whether it was a master broker. So a lot of different ways to learn about availabilities.
Awesome. And then one of our members said normally they will run what they call a no gravamen certificate to ensure title. That means the seller does not owe money and has the property as collateral. So that's just a tidbit that was put in there. Someone else said, what is the range of COA and HOA fees?
So HOA is going to be very similar to the US. So for a 2-bedroom condos, probably going to be between 200 to 300 per month. And that basically covers the same thing. So it covers the maintenance of the grounds, covers the pool, covers if it has gym area, if it has a business center, any of those. As far as the property tax is very low in Mexico. So it's 0.01 of 1% or 0.1 of 1%. So if you purchase a $200,000 property, you're paying 200 to 250 per year. So 1/10 of what you're paying here in the US as the base levy.
Gotcha. And another question is, are the condo pricings including furnishing?
So most of them, the pricing does not include furniture. If the entire property is forced as a hotel condo, which some of them are since they're branded, then the furniture package is part of the pricing. Usually if it's not included, you're looking about, for a 2-bedroom, you're looking anywhere from maybe about 15,000 to 20,000 for all the furnishings, all the, basically the plates, kitchenware, toaster, basically all of that, because they are running it as basically a Airbnb style hotel type room.
Awesome. Well, that is all the questions. Everyone's just thanking you and saying that they love the information. But other than that, we are all set. Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to share. And then everyone feel free to contact me. I'll share the presentation with Janessa and Sarah. So they'll be able to hopefully get it out to you guys as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much once again, Spencer. Very detailed presentation. Your knowledge comes second to none. Seriously, we are grateful that you are doing the presentation and that now we get to welcome you part of TIGAR Global Committee. So with that said, also wanted to lastly say a huge round of applause to our task force for this event, which was Donna, Nila, Adriana, and our liaison, Janessa. Also, for all those of you who are interested, our next event where we're going to be traveling to is going to be in Belize. It's going to be held in July 27. So be on the lookout for our announcements. With that said, thank you so much for joining us, and looking forward to networking and meeting you all in person in the near future. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.